Hello everyone, as always I am Cosmic and today we're going to be reviewing Warhammer 40k Regicide, which is essentially a Warhammer 40,000 chess game. Regicide was developed and published by Hammerfall Publishing, whom are an Australian-based developer. Now Regicide went through Steam's early access program, in which I originally took an early look at the game in an episode of Early Access Examination. Now the game has finally released, and with it comes a 50-mission single-player campaign and of course online multiplayer, which includes ranking and progression. The single-player campaign itself is story-driven and contains both text sequences as well as CGI sequences. The game is fully voice-acted to a decent level. Yes, it is occasionally full of cheese, but it's Warhammer 40,000 cheese rather than just average bad voice acting. The campaign follows the story of Captain Dracomedes and his Blood Angel brethren as he fights a battle for Hethkar Prime. The game features two playable races, currently in the form of Space Marines and Orcs. There are 11 unlockable chapters and clans, in which can be played in all the multiplayer modes. The game is set to have future expansions and new campaigns released in DLC form. Now, like I've said, yes, this is basically a Warhammer 40k themed chess game with its own twist essentially. The game currently has two rule sets, Classic and Regicide. Classic is just classic chess with 40k pieces. Regicide, however, holds the rules of chess and adds some 40k flavour with skills that can be used. In Regicide mode, each unit has a health and armour bar, and thus units can be killed in two ways. A straight classic chess move, such as pawn takes pawn or bishop takes bishop, will kill the enemy instantly, or you can wear down an enemy's health bar by ranged and melee attacks. Regicide mode is at its core a chess game, but it incorporates other elements of turn-based tactical games such as XCOM into its combat, leaving you with a chess game that also features unit abilities and player abilities. These abilities allow for much more tactical depth and allow you to employ a variety of different tactics to win. The Regicide mode is fairly interesting in that it allows you to win chess situations that traditionally you wouldn't be able to win. Moves in chess that would be considered bad or reckless can turn into a winning strategy in Regicide. Indeed, this can go even further. The rule set of Regicide allows for some truly heroic comebacks that otherwise would not be possible in traditional chess. Now, once you actually get into the game, Regicide mode works from two phases. The first phase is the movement phase, in which you're able to move your pieces pretty much the same as chess. However, after you've moved one of your pieces, it comes the initiative phase, in which you can use both unit abilities and player abilities from a pool of initiative points, which will replenish each turn. Each ability consists of a certain amount of points, and some will require even a cooldown timer. Unit abilities range from basic range attacks like Snapshot to frag grenades, whereas player abilities usually focus more on the AoE side of things, or such as healing your units. Unit abilities like Snapshot, which is essentially the basic ranged attack, doesn't do much damage. It can take 3 or 4 units to use Snapshot on a single enemy to really do some damage. It's fair to say that while chess will always be chess, Regicide mode isn't chess. While it does take the basics of chess, it has none of the balance nor the rules of play. In fact, if you try to play Regicide mode as a straight up chess match, it's likely that you'll just lose straight off the bat. With the ability of gunning down pieces from afar, it forces you to completely change the way you would normally play, and it forces you to adapt and to go on and make sacrificial moves that you wouldn't otherwise consider in chess. What I like about Regicide from a critique standpoint is the way that both rule sets of traditional chess and the addition of the Regicide rule set blend, and they create a new experience that combines classic chess with a more modernised turn-based strategy game, and that in turn creates a fun, enjoyable chess variant. The single-player campaign is fairly enjoyable for the story, and it does mix things up in terms of missions. Each mission is not a straight-up game of chess, instead you're given scenarios and objectives. An example of one is several pawns and a knight facing down several enemies, and the objective being not to lose any of the knights, as well as killing all the enemies and possibly capturing one or two. Maps also change for the campaign in each mission, and they will feature impassable objects that can be used as cover. I really do like that the developers try to create something a little bit different for the campaign, and while some of the missions are fairly enjoyable and they keep you employing fresh tactics, some missions are really repetitive and some can be outright frustrating in the makeup and the design. The multiplayer, on the other hand, is the game's standout feature. Facing down friends or strangers with 40k chess pieces never really gets old. Both classic and Regicide modes are fun, and there's plenty of settings to fine-tune your game for things such as speed chess. Like most chess games, Regicide does feature asynchronous matches, so you can play several opponents at once. Multiplayer is really where the longevity of this game is at. While the computer AI can be fairly challenging and indeed brutal, it still doesn't compare to the feeling of a real person on the other end. The art style of the game is great, with the whole aesthetic really paying attention to the grimness of the franchise. The character models are what stand out most, and each model looks as good as the real life miniatures. What makes the visuals great to look at, however, is the character animations. In particular, the kill cam animations when a piece is taken. The animations are wonderful, gory, and outright packed with 40k brutality. They alone make the game enjoyable to watch. I, however, experienced some problems visually. For example, the kill cam camera would often fly through objects, making the whole experience poor to look at. The game does need some serious optimization in places. On some matches, I would keep a steady 30 to 40 FPS range, not a problem, and then on other maps, it would consistently tank to as low as 19 frames per second, which frankly, for a game that doesn't have much going on the screen at any one point, it's pretty terrible. There are bugs in the game, as well as some long loading screens, which all will be hopefully addressed in coming patches. However, be warned, it is a little bit unoptimized in the current state. I think for me, overall, Regicide is a great digital Warhammer 40k chess variant. It has a high standard of quality and is packed with content to the point that for $15, you can get a ton of value for money, simply out of the multiplayer alone. While little fixes are needed here and there, and I certainly would like to see more maps and free additions such as more chapters, clans and races, there's very little to complain about in this game. Hammerfall have done a really good job with Regicide, and while the Regicide mode may not be everyone's cup of tea, it's certainly something to try out, and while Regicide mode may be hit or miss with you, classic chess certainly will always be a hit, and for that alone, even if you don't like Regicide mode but you want to play chess with 40k pieces and have some really kick-ass kill animations, you know, that alone is worth the $15 price tag. And that is my review of Warhammer 40k Regicide. Thank you so much for watching. Do like, subscribe and leave a comment, and I will see you next time.